Open the doors, turn down the house lights. This is the Clash Royale League Europe. Today's first match features Team Liquid, led by the one and only Surgical Goblin. Across the bridge, allegiance with French favorites Donkey Kong and Lupanji. The time for battle is now!
Hello and welcome to Clash Royale League. I'm Rich Slate, and joining me is Paul and Varum Todkill to bring you the fifth day of action in the European region.
The European region has had some amazing matchups, and today is going to be no exception. With rosters from organizations like these from across Europe, this is going to be an amazing day of action, and we're starting here with Team Liquid and Allegiance.
All of these teams vying for one of those top 4 spots in the region. The winner of our playoffs will represent Europe in the World Finals.
Of course, Team Liquid being represented by players you should all know and love: Surgical Goblin, Diego B, and Azilis.
On the other side of the board from Team Liquid is Allegiance, the French team with Donkey Kong, Doberman, Lupanji, and the American Tide making an appearance with his European friends.
Oh, yes, Tide, the token American coming in there for ALG. And what is of course, predominantly French roster. They're going to be having an amazing time here going up against Team Liquid. Of course, you guys should all hit that subscribe button right here on the Clash Royale League Esports YouTube channel. If you guys haven't done so already, you should do it.
Both teams 1-1 looking to get a victory and move up the leaderboard. Right now, standing by with one of those hopeful is Christy St. John with Donkey Kong.
Thanks, guys. Donkey Kong, I have to ask, you are going up against some of the biggest, well, the biggest names in the game, really. Does that affect your strategy or your preparation, your nerves at all?
Not really. I'm more focused maybe than against other teams because we have to play perfectly in order to win. So I think it's going to make us play better than usual.
Great. Well, merci beaucoup. And back to you.
No concerns from Donkey Kong. He, of course, has been in this position before, a longtime veteran of Clash Royale. Before we get to this matchup, let's take one more look at our format.
Of course, it all starts off with our 2v2. After that, we go into the 1v1, the staple format of competitive Clash Royale. And if we need it, we will go to our King of the Hill tiebreaker. Of course, each of these sets has their own unique sets of bans, and we'll discuss those as they come up.
So far, the lineups for King of the Hill, of course, not set until we reach that moment, but we are going to get into our 2v2 and 1v1 very soon here. To learn more about what's coming, let's go inside the war rooms.
Comme d'habitude, on a préparé nos matchs. Pour le 2v2, vous avez vos 3 decks, vous avez l'ordre de départ, vous savez quoi jouer. Communication, comme à chaque fois, la communication c'est hyper important, on l'a dit juste avant. Vous parlez tous les deux, dès qu'il y a un truc à dire, vous le dites. Samir, ton 1v1, on l'a préparé aussi, tu as tes decks. Tu joues contre Diego, tu sais ce qu'il joue, hein. C'est ce qu'il va jouer, donc on a préparé ça par rapport à ça. Et on ne devrait pas avoir de soucis à se faire, logiquement tout va bien se passer. Et on part en 2-1 aujourd'hui. Ça marche? Allez.
So with Ben Fireball, I think Roy Hawks will be really good. And I don't think they expect it since we didn't practice it in our main accounts. So I think it's good to start with it. And then Diego.
I think I'll start with Hog. Because Panther Musky, I know he likes that, so it's pretty good. And the second game depends on what he uses first. I'll play Babaluna Golem.
Sounds good.
Yeah, sounds really good. To close it out.
Let's do it.
Alright, let's go. Got this.
Yep. We've seen them chat inside their war rooms, but now they'll let their agile fingers do the talking. 2v2 combatants, enter the arena and meet your fate!
The teams are walking the tunnels here to set off this match in our first set of 2v2, and some changes in store for both rosters.
Both of these teams making up some changes for the 2v2. Doberman now being joined by Lupanji, who's traditionally done their 1v1 here now in the 2v2.
And across from them, the third configuration for Team Liquid, it's now Surgical Goblin and Azilis playing in the 2v2 matchup.
I love this. Both of these teams feeling confident enough in what they're doing to switch things up. We are seeing Tornado as well as the Fireball being banned. A couple staples here for 2v2. Fireball, not always the most common, but Tornado, it's meta.
We'll see in Fireball Band, maybe we'll see some more mid-level troops as we talked about that before. Again, remember, Rocket is still on the table, but without Tornado, so many synergies gone, so we don't know if we'll see that put into these decks. But again, these are two teams built of giants. I mean, I bet they know what they're doing.
I would imagine they do know indeed. We'll see as we get into our very first game here in the European region how things are going to shape out. As you said, this is the third configuration that we have now seen for Liquid. They have tried every conceivable option of the 1v1 and 2v2 scenario. We are now seeing Surge and Azelis. I think this could be a really fun combo because like Azelis is known for his hardcore control, but like Surge has a bunch of different stuff that he can run. So having him as there more in the shot calling position, I'm really curious to see how this will play out.
Two of the teams we expected at the top of the ladder already both down at 1-1. Who will take a step forward towards that playoff today, here, right now? It's 2v2 set number 1, game number 1.
As we get into this very first game, both of these teams are going to look for the win, and I think they're going to want to do it in a very convincing fashion here. You want to come out and make a statement in this very first game. Both of these teams are 1-1 in the overall standings. They want to go up in that 2-1 spot, and to start that off on the right foot, you got to get that first win.
ALG's Lupanji and Dopam at the bottom of your screen. At the top, Team Liquid, Surgical Goblin, and Azelis.
Surgical Goblin and Azelis. A lot of fun combos here, but as well, we have Lupanji and Dopam. Lupanji, who has been an absolute monster in the 1v1 format. It's interesting to look at this because he's had so much success there. Switching this up, they have to have equal amount of confidence in their other players.
Well, you know, they have struggled a bit on the 2v2 side of the board, so maybe they're looking to strengthen up 2v2. And then moving Donkey Kong out of 2v2, expect to see him in 1v1, of course, and that's a place where he also has so much experience.
A lot of experience here. I mean, you look at these top, European players. I mean, again, Lupanji, he was the European champion here. But this is actually going to be an interesting moment right now because we do have the Royal Hogs coming out, and the response, the traditional answer, the Valkyrie, was already played. So now we're going to see a lot of damage coming through from Team Liquid.
Split Hogs, tons of damage. You know, you think the miner on the right-hand side may have meant to get in there a split second earlier to tank for a mini tank for those Royal Hogs, but still a big lead early on for Team Liquid, but now a counter push coming, and the balloon going to bounce off there. Will it get onto that left-hand tower? Barely gets stocked with the bats and one shot from Mazapi, but the death damage will get through.
A lot of damage coming through on this push from ALG. The rage there to help bring it all together. The Prince pushing forward that Golem. And now once again the response coming out, but this time a slightly better answer with the Tombstone.
Tombstone putting a little hitch in the giddy-up of those Royal Hogs, but it cannot stop them all the way. The right-hand tower for ALG now down to 409.
This is really just good, solid positioning from Team Liquid, realizing when they have an Elixir advantage, able to push those Royal Hogs right on down the middle every single time, getting that split pressure. We see it here once again, right on the timing of the goal in the back, so this could be disastrous for ALG.
The right-hand tower is going to fall. The left-hand tower forced to play the Prince to clean that up. But again, there's the miner in the back with just 38 seconds left. Team Liquid looking like they might have game number 1 all wrapped up.
Oh, this is just a bad spot right now for ALG. The second that goal was played, the Hogs are there, instantly going to look to respond. This is well the Royal Archer and the Valkyrie trying to be there to clean it up, and they will do so. This is absolutely huge with the bomb tower defense. Not quite enough with the balloon going through on the right-hand side as well, but still, this is a fantastic position for Team Liquid overall. So they do have quite a healthy tower advantage there, but the goal in the pocket.
We are moving into moving into sudden death overtime. Danger for Team Liquid, but they're going to take that left-hand Princess Tower and save themselves from a potential fall in the last seconds. That is what you get with Azelis and Surgical Goblin playing for such a well-respected squad. They take game number 1 in our 2v2 set.
I mean, overall, if you look at the players on the stage right now, you have a quartet of European all-stars right now. Any single one of these players at any moment can go off and make absolutely huge plays.
Let's look at that replay. You see the split Hogs here. The real danger for them with those split Hogs, they make it impossible for Allegiance to create a great push behind that Golem. And here you see that being played over and over and over again, forcing Allegiance to make decisions they don't want to make.
When we see that, you see the Golem go down. That is a massive commitment on that Elixir. That's just an answer that's not going to be there yet. So taking advantage of that perfectly was Team Liquid. So we'll see how things change up here in game number 2. We'll see if we see some deck shifts or if we'll see more of the same. I mean, Team Liquid, again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But at the same time, is there going to be a counter coming up from ALG, in which case you want to counter the potential counter? The mind games are amazing here in Clash.
Back and forth and back and forth. Of course, we have seen Team Liquid when Diego B and Surgical posted up that really nice video of a faster deck here,
bait.
right? That bait deck. But now here with Azelis, we see Surgical Goblin going a little bit faster as well than we've mostly seen in 2v2. What will they do in game number 2? Will Allegiance tie it up, or will Team Liquid seal the first set and go into 1v1 with the lead?
Allegiance needs to come back here. They're already playing out the split zappies just to start off a little bit of pressure here. And now when they do this, they're going to be waiting for the response of Team Liquid. How they respond to this and then pushing on through. The second they see the Inferno Dragon on the right-hand side, instantly going to commit those big heavy tanks on the left.
A nasty, aggressive push on the left-hand side for Allegiance. The Royal Giant getting some damage on there, but the Giant Skeleton, you know, oddly enough, he didn't fall as fast as maybe you wanted it to, which is kind of strange.
Yeah, you wanted the drive pretty much instantly there to drop that massive bomb, but we did see double Valk being committed there for Team Liquid. Not gonna, I mean, they were able to shut it down, only get a couple, I think only one shot through off that Royal Giant, but still not maybe the most ideal situation there for them. So we do have the cannon card starting to whittle down this goal with the poison committed, well, pretty high up.
Well, so far we haven't seen a lot of swarm troops crossing the board for Allegiance, so using those Valks to stop that big push of the Giant Skeleton and the Royal Giant might actually be a great way to use just 8 Elixir to stop so much more from their opponents.
Speaking of stopping a lot of Elixir, the Golem does actually make it to the tower, not quite able to stop that in its entirety was ALG. That splash damage finding its way home. That Magic Archer, though, doing so much work to shut that down. Beautiful placement on that.
And here we see that big push again on the left-hand side, the Royal Giant and the Giant Skeleton. And now this might actually in some ways work out to Allegiance's favor. If they can reset the Inferno Dragon, they'll get a little bit more out of that Royal Giant. Even without that, still taking the left-hand tower down to 1271.
That was a beautiful defense, though. Overall, that could have been so much worse for Team Liquid there. They were able to keep that Inferno Dragon alive the whole time. Yes, the Royal Giant did manage to get a few shots through, but yeah, that could have been really, really bad for them here. Able to hold off with the beautiful positioning on that, not having it fall to the death damage on that Giant Bomb, and now they're in a great position, an awesome opportunity to mount a push of their own.
Liquid needs to find some way to stop that Royal Giant, or that Royal Giant and Giant Skeleton push. It has been punishing them there on the left-hand side. Not quite getting through here with the balloon, but now the Golemites making a push on the left-hand tower. They will end up giving Team Liquid a slight lead as we are just 25 seconds away from sudden death overtime.
The Lightning does drop here as well, shutting down the push, but in the back, the Miner has to be dealt with. Valkyrie not in an optimal position to clean that on up. As you said, the Royal Giant is huge. If left to its own devices, it will shred down this tower. So they do need to address that here if they want to find success. Overall, fairly even across the board right now for both of these teams. ALG doing a great job of playing their win condition.
If they can keep these Zappies and Bats off, and there's the Giant Snowball, they might be able to sneak through. No, it's not going to happen. Probably not even death damage at that distance. Oh no, it does get it. So now we're down to 659 on the left-hand tower with the Giant, or with the Golem, excuse me, making a push. It looks like it might be Team Liquid figuring out the math for this thing. The death damage when it goes off will put it down. Wow, unbelievable. You know, it looked like that Royal Giant, Giant Skeleton combination had things sewn up for Lupanji and Doberman, but no, against guys like Azelis and Surgical Goblin, you are never in the clear.
I mean, they found what they needed to do there. They held off on placing down that Inferno Dragon. That was really the key there for Team Liquid. That was one of the big things. The second we saw that the first time it got a lot of that value, the Inferno Dragon on the other side was massive, but that time around they were able to push it on through, find that value, find that damage, shut it down. They only took 1,000 damage on that tower through the entire push. Yeah, it sounds like a lot, but in the scheme of things, when they know how much their damage they're doing on every single rotation with that Golem, they did the math, realized they could take that trade, executed the win.
Here's the hard thing in that situation for Allegiance. They didn't have the proper buildings that they need in order to try to deal with that Golem.
Just the Tombstone.
Just the Tombstone. Not really enough to stop it. That would hurt them significantly, and we saw that happen here. They kind of put all their eggs in the offensive basket, so to speak, and it did not pay off when we got into this Golem push. But now, Allegiance has the chance to get things back. As we go into 1v1, they are sending in one of their best players on the roster.
A 1v1 showdown is about to go down. This is classic Clash Royale at its best. Donkey Kong and Diego B, do your worst. Or your best. I mean, do your best, yes. Let's go!
Set number 2 about to begin. 2 of the top tournament players on the planet going head-to-head for their team's position in the Clash Royale EU standings.
I love to see this. Donkey Kong now here in the 1v1, one of the veteran members here in the CRL. Return to look at overall competitive play, going up against the young gun Diego B. This guy, he's a versatile player, known for some cheeky graveyard play. Curious to see if he'll bring it out here.
A top 10 player in the world is Diego B. And let's take a look at their ban cards. Interesting choices here. Diego B choosing to take 3 Musketeers off the board.
3 Musketeers off the board and the Inferno Dragon off the board. No surprise there. I mean, Donkey Kong is known for his Golem beatdown. This is what he made his money off of, I could say. He's known for those big late-game aggressive beatdown plays. He'll play it super passive and then run you over in double elixir time. So we'll see if that plays a factor with that Inferno Dragon off the board.
Remember that Team Liquid now is just 2 games away from sealing the victory. We need to have at least 2 wins from Donkey Kong to keep Allegiance's hopes alive.
He's trying to bring them on to that ace match, that king of the hill. Diego B is looking to just put it away. Starting things off, both these teams are saying tombstones are the way to go.
Not a whole lot happening, just some dueling tombstones. And then we get, an interesting log play, I guess, taking the tombstone out of the way. Will we see a push from something that tombstone might aggro here in just a second?
We're going to see here both these players playing this very passive lead to start. Never mind. Every single time I say that, a player's it's called the caster curse. Every single time they're going to play a Hog Rider on that beautiful activation on that tower there from Donkey Kong. And all the while, the Valkyrie played in the back time ago, walks all the way through to get 1 hit on the tower.
Looks like a pretty fast Hog cycle deck, and now we understand why he took that tombstone off the board. Maybe a little bit early, but then trying to wait and stall and maybe get his opponent out of rhythm. So Diego B now just slightly behind as we get the first minute away of this match with Donkey Kong.
Getting that first minute away, just going to keep up the consistent, annoying pressure with those little skeletons. At some point, if he wants to continue a push down that lane, those might be an advantage there. As we do see the response that's coming from Donkey Kong. Again, neither side really wanting to overcommit right here. We have seen the Hog Rider from Diego B, but we haven't really seen a win condition yet from Donkey Kong.
Reiner, Diego B and Team Liquid banning 3 Musketeers from this match, and you can see so far on their deck, no real cards designed to handle 3 Musketeers, so that does free them up to make some decisions that are great for this Hog cycle deck.
And we do see the Graveyard coming out now, pretty standard here from Donkey Kong. One of the cards we were expecting to see here as well. But it is getting cleaned up relatively well by Diego B through all of this here. So, I mean, we talk about the Graveyard. This time, Donkey Kong's the one pulling it out.
The Ice Wiz, in my opinion, an underrated card in the entire Clash Royale meta. It does, of course, have that splash damage. It slows things down. Some people don't like it. Maybe they find it a little bit weak. Maybe its hit speed isn't quick enough. But really, in the hands of a pro player, it can be so valuable.
Can be absolutely valuable. I would agree. It's how you use it in combination with the rest of your troops to get that value and get those additional hits, get that slow, utilize it, maximize it, put your opponent's cards in different positions, slowing down their attacks, everything right now. But all through this, we do see the Hog trying to push in here, getting hit from all 3 towers. That initial activation on the King Tower playing such a huge factor here for Donkey Kong.
Just a really difficult matchup for Diego B. He doesn't have a lot of answers to the Graveyard so far, relying on the Log and the Ice Wizard to try to clean all that stuff up. And with the Cannon Tower activation, and of course, not to mention that, but the Tombstone on his side of the board, Donkey Kong has a lot of answers for that Hog Rider.
He does have a lot of answers. We're going to be seeing them played out right now with the Tornado, with the Cannon Cart, bringing them all over here, and the Ice Wiz all the while. Like you said, just slowing them down. It's the utility the card offers.
And there's a predictive Tombstone there that is also a decent answer to your Graveyard play, but notice the Poison getting it out of the way right now. Expect a Graveyard to come in fairly quickly on that left-hand side.
And GY Poison right now for Donkey Kong, just wearing down Diego B, just not able to get those key Hog Rider hits when he needed them. Every single time the Tornado is there for a response. And we're going to see once again on the left-hand side, we have the graveyard for Donkey Kong, and it's getting so much work every single time.
Now a Hog Rider is sneaking through on the left, but again, that tornado. There are so many responses to the Hog Rider. Now that we are almost a minute into sudden death overtime, it's Donkey Kong seemingly in control of this matchup, looking for a chance to hit that final blow.
Really feeling in control. I would agree, Rich. He's sitting pretty right now. Doesn't have a whole lot to worry about. This Ice Wizard, we've been seeing it for both sides, getting so much work done here as well. And look at this positioning, luring in the cards with that Tombstone, then having the Valkyrie there to instantly deal with this, exactly how you want to respond to this Hog Rider.
Just one hit from that Hog Rider on the right-hand side. And now look, Diego B throwing everything in the defense on the left. The Ice Wiz, the Ice Golem to take some of that damage, and of course his Tombstone, but it will not stop enough. That left tower now down to 609.
Graveyard Poison over time. It will just wear down that tower. Can he do it in time, though, with a minute 30 left on the time here in overtime? That's a lot of time, I should say, as we do see the push now once again being done for Donkey Kong.
The Graveyard down, the Ice Wiz in response. We seem to have settled into a rhythm so far in this matchup. In that rhythm, not looking good for Diego B. Donkey Kong playing this thing to perfection.
Playing it to perfection indeed every single time, Hog Rider. That tornado will not be your friend. He is now, though, in poison range, so that will be at the second poison comes back in cycle for Donkey Kong. That will be the game. He just needs to hold out here for a few more seconds, and that will be it. Diego B not having the success here. Again, the matchup just not super favorable for him here in game number 1.
The Tombstone placement perfect every single time for Donkey Kong, letting no offense mount for his opponent. It's the final poison. A little cheek thrown out on the King Tower as well, and that is it. The first game down of set number 1. Allegiance now 1 win away from sending us for King of the Hill.
That was really just a brutal matchup for Diego B right there. Not an optimal position for him to be in. He just didn't have the answers that he needed. He tried to adapt. He said putting in the back, having the Tombstone there to try and aggro those skeletons, but the poison as well. It was really interesting to see, too, how Donkey Kong played that. He held back the poison for a while, making sure he could deal with those pushes as they came through. He's like, yeah, I can do this with Valk, with Tomb, with Tornado. I can handle these pushes, no problem. And then he felt comfortable enough committing the poison on the offense with the Graveyard. Once he felt comfortable enough doing that, it was GG.
All of you at home have been in that position before. You're in a match. It takes you about a minute to realize that you really don't have a great way through. You know, Diego B banning 3 Musketeers, taking that 3 Musketeers Royal Hogs combination deck off the board, and you look at that, go, okay, great, my Fireball's now opened up. Maybe it makes opportunities for this Hog Cycle deck, and it ends up not doing it. He runs it against a really nasty Graveyard deck that has all the answers, and game number 1 now in the books for Allegiance. Diego B hoping to win this second game, conferring with his teammates, trying to find a way to beat Donkey Kong and send us to a third game.
Well, that's one of the amazing things here about the Clash Royale League is that your teammates are right there with you. 3 minds are better than 1 here. The whole team conferring together, coming up with a way, figuring out what deck should be run here, and that's the amazing part of this. It's not just you up there. It's a whole team.
And it wasn't just the great deck. Let's not ignore the perfect play of Donkey Kong, keeping his towers almost 100% intact throughout that entire matchup. Maybe a couple swings here and there from the Hog Rider. But again, that's the experience of the Frenchman. He's been in these positions before. He, of course, 3rd place at CCGS, 4th place at King's Cup. He is a vet, but Diego B, do not count him out. Game number 2 is on its way.
As we get into game number 2, Diego B, of course, down in this scenario. Team Liquid, who was looking so good in the 2v2 on the outset here in the 1v1, but it is not over yet. Allegiance saying, look, we want to take this to King of the Hill. We're going to show you we can play these in 1v1s.
With 2 teams with such great players, I think the viewers deserve nothing less than King of the Hill, but Diego B is confident and really wants to make sure that the viewers get just a little bit less show today.
A little bit less show as we do see the Valkyrie here being pushed in by that Ice Wizard. All these fun little interactions with movement speed, but the Baby Dragon and the Lumberjack going to clean that up with ease here. But you have to talk about the rage on the Baby Dragon. That thing actually hits pretty hard.
Yeah, we saw it do some pretty significant damage in North America the other day. Combining that with the Rage can really chump down a tower pretty quickly. But now we get a cannon cart played right at the river, getting taken apart by those minions.
The minions and the log as well to clean up that Tombstone. Both of these players trading glancing blows. And when I mean glancing blows, I mean they played a lot of cards and no damage has been done.
Valkyrie with the Ice Wiz behind it right at the river. The Valkyrie, will it get all the way? It will not, doing a little bit of damage to that Lumberjack. Lumberjack coming through, trying to chop down that Ice Whiz and hopefully drop that Rage. I want to see what's in support when that potion actually hits the floor.
Yeah, I feel like I'm still waiting on the win conditions here for both players. Neither one really giving away too much at this stage. Probably going to see a Graveyard coming out here from Donkey Kong here as well again. Had success for him in the last game, but a lot more able to deal with it, I think, is Diego B in this matchup.
You gotta wonder what Diego B has planned. That Lumberjack, for many players, used primarily as a defensive card, and then if it does get across the board, there's your extra value, and it turns out to be a Golem deck for Diego B, and really nice timing here as it picks up the damage from that cannon card.
Picks up the damage there, tanking that in a moment of need. As we get into double elixir time, we'll see how Diego B opts to support that. The Tombstone in the middle going to be aggroing it with the slow from that Ice Wizard. Donkey Kong is putting on a clinic with this troop.
Important to note that Inferno Dragon was banned by Allegiance, so that is one option to stop the Golem that is not going to be in the hand of Donkey Kong as we move into the final seconds of double elixir time.
And again, it's pretty funny because Donkey Kong, normally the one who's so known for his big beatdown play, known for his Golem play, instead here opting to run the Graveyard, the card that Diego B is known for here. So both of these players taking a page out of the other's book and showing up here in a big way.
Interesting to see no Tornado in Diego's deck. Instead, we have the Tombstone on top of that. Very interesting kind of off-meta Golem deck here from Diego B, but so far, playing pretty good defense. We are neck and neck, pretty much even as we go into sudden death overtime.
That might change, though, if this Golem can keep marching down the middle here as well, looking to lock in onto the tower, especially with the Rage from the Lumberjack in perfect position. There's the Tornado trying to pull it back. The Splash Yard using that Ice Wizard and that Tornado together in combination, but still the Golem is marching to the tower.
Watch the Jack sneak through right here on the left-hand tower, doing so much damage. That is going to be it. That tower gets through. Oh my gosh, what a beautiful push from Diego B. And when you're playing a Golem deck, that's all it takes. And now we see why he chose that sort of off-meta deck. Beautiful play. We've seen that Lumberjack sneak through a couple times here at CRL, and that did it. It got the win. Diego B now sending us to the third game of 1v1.
Yeah, Golem NATO, a deck we've seen quite a bit of on the ladder of late, but opting to put his own spin on it this time around, and it paid dividends for Diego B when he was finally able to get the push together that he was looking for. He steamrolled. Watch how fast that left-hand tower goes down. It was just deleted.
Well, and interesting, again, an off-meta Golem deck built by Diego B, potentially maybe as a counter directly expecting Graveyard again.
I mean, it worked out here fairly well. He had all the answers every single time. The GY definitely felt a lot less impactful in that game. Donkey Kong, of course, had great success with it in that first one, but this time around, I think, maybe playing into the hands of Diego B, but actually, it's the collective mind of Team Liquid because, again, all of these players are giving their input here, and it's showing.
Here we are, folks, the third and final game of set number 2. Diego B holding his team's fate in his hands. On the opposite side, you have Donkey Kong, maybe a little less under pressure, because if he does lose, we go to King of the Hill.
We go to King of the Hill. Indeed, we're going to find out here as we get into game number 3. Let's see who's going to pull it out, and we'll see if we'll go on to our tiebreaker, our ace match.
A reminder one more time on those card bans. Inferno Dragon banned by Allegiance. 3 Musketeers off the board per Diego B. And Inferno Dragon being off kind of came back to bite Donkey Kong in that last game.
Yeah, I was going to say, not having an answer to that Golem might have hurt him just a little bit. He really didn't have a response to that, able to just walk on through, trying to disrupt it, trying to pull it back with the Tornado, but just not able to make it happen. And we are seeing Lava Hound coming out now for Diego B. Will we see Miner being played? Will we see Balloon here? Lava Balloon we're going to see, but instantly the Hogs in response, and instantly the answer.
The Royal Hogs getting through some damage, but that Valkyrie mitigating most of the problems. A slight early lead from Donkey Kong, but a push developing Lava Loon and a perfectly placed tower to take this down from Diego B.
An Inferno Tower there to disrupt the push, the Fireball as well for good measure. And it's going to be oh so close. Is there going to be a no?
Oh, it hit. I might have spoke a little bit incorrectly there. That tower maybe should have been 1 tick over. But again, with how far to the right that balloon was placed, I don't know if he could have gotten into a better position. Unfortunately for Donkey Kong, now down to 14-19 on the right-hand side.
Donkey Kong trying to get sassy there, committing the Mega Mini to try and knock the balloon out of the way. We all thought he had it. That positioning was we thought was flawless. But no, and now just trading out the Fireball for that Magic Archer is Diego B. I like that trade.
A very fun deck from Donkey Kong. You know, the Royal Hog, some people say, are one of the more powerful cards in the new meta, but on the backside, one of the most difficult cards to use in that Magic Archer, but it can be so deadly in the right hands.
It's all about your positioning. It's not only that, it's knowing where your opponent's troops are going to move, so you can continue to get value through there. I mean, you always want to trade out that Fireball for the Magic Archer, because if you leave the Magic Archer on its own, it will just wreak havoc over time. So instantly deleting it, instantly denying it, you're going to use that trade 100% of the time.
Royal Hogs again stopped by the Valkyrie. And now, interesting, look at this. We get the Inferno Tower on the right-hand side, and Diego B instead using the Valkyrie to tank for the balloon. Will it get close enough? It does get the first drop and the bomb damage. Brilliant bit of sleight of hand coming from the Team Liquid representative.
Absolutely beautiful, but did he overcommit? No, he already has the Valkyrie back in hand to deal with this. He will take some response damage, but that was an absolutely phenomenal play from Diego B. You talked about it, sleight of hand. That was exactly what we saw. Hey, look at this lava hound. Oh, there's Valkyrie over the inside. It's not doing anything. But oh wait, no, it's the one tanking for my balloon. Thanks for throwing that Inferno Tower way off to the side.
Interesting to see the Royal Hogs play consistently all in one lane rather than what we've seen usually the split Hogs, especially with the Valkyrie and Fireball in hand. You think he might split them up, but again, he does have the Tombstone for Diego B to watch out for, so maybe he's trying to avoid getting them pulled back into the middle and then shredded.
That's really what we're looking for here as well. But I have to say, that Magic Archer from Donkey Kong, all throughout this game, there is a reason you've been looking to shut it down with that Fireball, because every single time it has been doing work. But we do finally see Diego be able to get a pretty solid trade there, putting out, you know, the Fireball down on those Hogs. Of course, now he doesn't have to deal with that Magic Archer, but maybe now he's in a position where he feels comfortable doing a push of his own.
And Valkyries will meet pretty near the bridge. Can the Royal Hogs sneak past that Valkyrie and get onto the tower? They will get a couple of hits. Now down to 741, mostly mitigated. What does Diego B have in store in these opening seconds of sudden death overtime?
Well, I feel like Diego B potentially, he had a pretty good answer there. I mean, he almost pulled the Hogs a little bit too far out with that Tombstone, actually missing a couple swings from that Valkyrie there. That was actually almost a slight misplay. They got a few additional hits there onto the tower, but he then was able to execute his push on his own. Of course, on the other side, then instantly cleaned up with the Fireball. So watch how this plays out here, pulling them away, allowing his Valkyrie to clean that up, and trying to pull them back to the middle. I think he's found the answer to the Hogs, but he's still taking chip damage every time.
Interesting note that by playing the Tombstone that far to the right, I don't know if it was purposeful or not, but he did end up sending one of the Hogs to the right-hand tower that's in better shape. If that was on purpose, that was a beautiful play.
That was some next level play. And speaking of next level play, we see the aggressive Lava Hound being played here. Now, there needs to be a response because this Lava Hound will take down the tower if left to its own devices right now. This looks like it's going to be it. Diego B with the aggressive Lava Hound play will take it for Team Liquid.
Really brilliant maneuver there, almost kind of baiting the Royal Hogs out so that he wouldn't defend against the Lava Hound, making them go for the tower, but he knew he had the correct cards in cycle. If we take a look back at that one again, you'll see he dropped the Tombstone there, drew them over, had the Fireball ready, and here we go. This is that first play of the tower. This might have been one of the biggest game changers. You think that that balloon's going to get at most death damage, but the slight misplay with the Mega Minion you pointed out earlier doesn't bump it off course, but here is that brilliant play to close things out. You had the Royal Hogs there going for the Tombstone, the Fireball to back it up. Diego B knew he had that thing locked up, and he closes this thing out for Team Liquid.
Taking it 2-0. The sweep is real for Team Liquid. Donkey Kong putting up a valiant effort, just not quite able to get the games there. Team Liquid securing themselves that 2-1 overall record. GG's, handshakes across the board. All these guys have played together before. They've all met in competition. So you know, there's a lot of respect to be had on both sides.
Yeah, and it's not, don't count out Allegiance yet. Their roster is so stacked. Diego B, of course, the winner in 1v1 right now. Really fantastic play from him. But on the other side, you know, there were just a couple of moments where they didn't have the answer for what was on the board, and that's why Allegiance lost today. But also some fantastic play. Surgical Goblin and Azelis doing some pretty impressive stuff in 2v2.
I mean, we were looking originally, we're like, Surgical Goblin, Diego B, they did that amazing video, looked like their synergy was there, and then they switched it up. They put Surge in the 1v1. Now they have Azelis and Surge together. They just goes to show you cannot predict this team. They will mix it up every single week. I'm sure at some point they'll probably find a set 2v2 and 1v1 roster, but at least for now, they're just having fun.
So far, mixing it up, doing very well for Team Liquid, who improve in the standings off of the fantastic work of their man in 1v1 today. Our colleague Christy St. John is standing by with Diego B.
Thanks, guys. Diego B, congrats, man. How does it feel?
Thanks. It feels really good. I'm super happy that I won for my team. Good day. Feels good.
And your team has tried every combination, every different lineup. Have you think you found the winning combo? Are you going to be playing 1v1 from now on?
No, I think we're just going to keep switching it up just to keep the other teams guessing. Since we're so, I guess, versatile, we can do a 2v2 or 1v1. We're just going to switch it up every time.
Mind games. I very much like it. Now, you had your whole team kind of conference over there for the decks, or the deck changes in between, and especially that second game, you had that off-meta golem deck. Can you tell me what that conversation was like?
Well, they didn't want me to repeat the deck because he countered me first game, so they were scared he was going to repeat in the second game, so that's why I played the golem deck.
It was an absolutely fantastic play. Coming back from a loss into 2 wins, you came back amazingly. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Chrissy. Diego B pointing out what we already know. Team Liquid can really put anything together. All 3 of these players, fantastic in 2v2, fantastic in 1v1, and it's going to be up to these other teams to figure out what the heck they're doing.
What the heck they're doing, indeed, because whatever they're doing, it's working, as they are now in that top 4 position, 3rd place. 2-1. Of course, you want to be in the top 4 spot because those 4 teams, the one to go on to the playoffs.
And 2 more teams coming at you in a moment to try to make their way into the playoffs. SK Gaming versus Dignitas.
SK and Dignitas. This is going to be an epic showdown coming at your faces right now. It's happening right now.
In the Clash Royale League, one match is never enough. Let's get seconds. This time, SK Gaming, led by the mighty Loweye and Flobby, entered the arena to battle Max Lamanas, IMJP, and Esports Goliath Team Dignitas. Still looking for their first CRL win. Who wants it more? Let's see.
The teams are in the tunnels. We are ready to kick this thing off. A big-time matchup between SK Gaming and Team Dignitas.
Dignitas here, their 2nd time around in the Clash Royale League, looking for redemption here with their 2nd game, of course. Going to be the exact same format as the first time around. Of course, having our 2v2, our 1v1, our King of the Hill. And we'll see if this time around they can make a change. They can do something different. They can find that win.
Both teams fielding some fantastic players on the side of Team Dignitas. Standouts like IMJP, Wonka, and of course Max Lamanas and Messi 10 in the background if needed for King of the Hill.
And they're going to go up against, though, the Titans, SK Gaming, Morton and Flobby, Loweye, Matt01, the German phenoms over there on SK. They're going to look to put up one heck of a show.
Anyone here is capable of putting this thing away. One of those players standing by right now with Christy St. John as she interviews the Hanover, Germany prospect, Morton.
Thanks, guys. Morton, you've played 2v2 every time you've been on our stage. Are we ever going to see you play 1v1?
Maybe next time, but not this time.
So switching the lineup, it's possible. Also, I've noticed that you played beatdown decks pretty much every time. Now the Lava Hounds banned this game. Are you going to switch up your strategy?
Yeah, it gives a lot of beatdown cards like Giant or Golem. They're still possible to play, but we will see.
We will see indeed. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Christy. We are again moments away from these teams setting things off. Morton performing very well so far with his partner Flobby. Of course, the entire team very dangerous. They are about to set their entire lineup. Maybe a bit of a hint there from Morton as what we can expect to come. To learn more, let's go inside the war room.
All right, come on, boys. You know your seats. All right, boys. Fnatic game's out the way. We're used to the set now. Bans for 2v2. Go.
This is Lava Hound and the Poison.
Yep, so we've got our decks ready. You know, used to. Like I said, always. Communication is key. No mistakes. I don't want no more fireballs like last time. JP, Royal Hogs and Zappies, you know what you're playing?
Yes.
Good, right. We're going to go out there and win. On 3, boys. 1, 2, 3.
Dig
Dig win!
Okay. As you know, guys, we came from a victory, our last game. We have the momentum going on from us.
And today what we're gonna do, we're gonna flavor that moment again that we had last week. And our goal is purely just focus match to match, do our best. We know what we're capable of. We know their team. We know what we want to do. That's all that matters. We trust in ourselves. We don't need to think about what they're going to play. We don't need to be worried about what they're going to do. We just need to be worried about ourselves. So let's do it.
Yeah.
Got it?
Yes.
Let's go.
SK Gaming?
SK Gaming. 1, 2, 3.
SK Gaming!
Let's go.
Dignitas and SK have told secrets about each other, but now it's time to air their dirty laundry face to face. Teams, send your 2v2 combatants into battle!
The king there trying to stir up some emotional confrontation between our teams, but that is unnecessary because they will confront each other inside the arena.
They're going to confront each other now, and representing Dignitas is Max Lemanas and Wonka. These two coming out once again, going to be repping the 2v2 there for Dig, up against SK Gaming, the dynamic duo of Flobby and Morton.
Flobby and Morton playing very well together so far in 2v2 up against Wonka and Max Lemanas. Of course, our ban cards will be active for the entire 2v2 set. Poison off the board as well as Lava Hound.
Lava Hound, an interesting denial here coming in with that ban card. One of those cards we've seen quite a lot in 2v2. We've seen it in conjunction with the Balloon. We've seen it more standalone. I wonder if we're going to see some variation with the Balloon and maybe something else like a Golem coming in, or if we're just going to totally ignore that aerial battle.
Yeah, you'd think it would take it off the board, but with 2v2, so many possible combinations you wouldn't expect because you have so much available elixir. Of course, 16 cards for each team, making crazy combinations that you've already seen some of them today in our earlier match. But right now, we're going to see what these two teams have in store. Will it be Dignitas taking first blood, or will it be SK Gaming?
SK Gaming going to look to come out here hot out of the gates. They're traditionally, have a little bit more control up their sleeves, but already they're going to look to draw some first blood here. But it is Dig who will hit that first time on the tower with that miner.
Wonka and Max, of course, playing a fairly quick bait-style deck in the original 2v2, but they were beaten 2 sets by Fnatic, who got their first win here in CRL.
Not the most ideal way to start things off. Of course, you always want to start things off with that win, but here this time around, we're going to look for that redemption here as the Rocket is coming out, going to be denying the Night Witch and putting a lot of damage here onto this giant skeleton. A Witch, though, coming out for Dignitas, a card you don't see a whole lot of in competitive Clash.
The Witch behind the Golem often is how it's played. We didn't see it behind anything here, but it did do a good job of stopping the giant skeleton at the bridge. We saw some giant skeletons get through in some of our other matches here in 2v2 for CRL. Not going to happen, at least on this first push for SK Gaming.
We are seeing both teams just sitting back, resetting, but look to get another push going here. The miner once again coming out, immediately going to be cleaned up though by SK Gaming. And now an aggressive Golem at the front with the giant skeleton here as well. Pekka will have to be dropped to deal with that.
Golem at the river and a graveyard on top of it. What a combination here with the Inferno Dragon, the giant skeleton, the Golem, and the graveyard, but Dignitas up to the task, really mitigating that damage now as we pass the halfway point. They are still in the lead on the left-hand side.
Watch for that here as well to continue. This is exactly what we've been seeing in a lot of our 2v2 competitive formats. The giant Golem at the front, the massive push being mounted, and then in the back, the graveyard coming out. Another point of contention for players to focus on here. But that was, as you said, a truly solid hold for Dignitas.
And now, as we move into double elixir time, the Inferno Dragon moving on. But we do see a miner in the back, supported a little bit by the Fireball, down to 729 as the left-hand tower of Morton and Flobby.
I love the decision from both of these teams to throw out the Rockets to deny the Witches on either side here. This absolutely crucial. Not only are you getting that chunk tower damage, you are also denying a card that is going to be spawning out those additional units and helping support that push. Now, we do see the push being dropped for SK once again. The Golem is there, but there's the giant skeleton as well, right in the front.
The spell damage, though, has been brutal from Dignitas, not just doing damage here at the river, but also getting some excellent timing there on the left-hand tower, which is why you see SK Gaming down to 729.
729, not a whole lot of HP to work with, and another beautiful hold for Dignitas here. Once again, in the back, the miner is there, but great positioning on that Valkyrie to deny that. But still, Dignitas is holding on, going to look to continue the push through, keeping the miners quick succession back to back, and slowly the tower is getting lower, and it is going to be within that critical rocket range.
Just as we hit sudden death overtime, Dignitas puts the nail in the coffin, taking game number 1. That has got to be feeling good after losing 2v2 in their opening match.
Yeah, they really wanted to come back here and look for that redemption, especially going up against Flobby and Morton. These guys are two consummate professionals. Really, it just came down to the excellent defense of Dignitas. Every single time when you have combos like this, they make it look easy, and then just slowly chipping away with spells, with the miners. That was Dignitas' win condition. They had to play solid defense, and they nailed it.
But take a look here at this stat. Spell Elixir spent so different for Dignitas, and that was the other story of this game, that they got their spell damage not only useful defensively at the river, but repeatedly they punished the left-hand tower of SK Gaming and got it down over and over and over again. Soon it was within rocket range, and there was no coming back from that.
No coming back from that, indeed. SK trying to find that opening, but every single time the P.E.K.K.A. was there, the Inferno Dragon, they just couldn't deal with the pressure. But as we're getting into game number 2, we'll see if SK can rally here.
And we are underway for the second game of this 2v2 set. Dignitas looking to close this out.
Dignitas here, we're looking to take this over SK Gaming. Miner coming out instantly, but beautiful counter there with the Dark Goblin. Still going to get a few this initial chip damage going in on this left-hand tower. Royal Ghost now coming out as well. Not sure I love this positioning on that Witch. The Royal Ghost, oh no, there's the counter there with that Valkyrie.
But we do have a Ram on the right-hand side trying to make its way, well taken care of by the Lumberjack. A rocket on the left, taking the tower of Dignitas down to 2102.
I mean, it makes perfect sense. When you look at it, the Ram is really just a big log. It makes sense the Lumberjack should have no problem taking that down.
Almost a minute down. Still the team's pretty even, but Dignitas out to a slight lead on the right-hand side.
And a little bit of a misplay there, not positioning that Golem perfectly with the Lumberjack. So having the Lumberjack push that forward, that could actually really come back to bite SK here. That Lumberjack is just going to run right on to his demise. And we are now going to have an unsupported Giant, or a Golem, I should say, on the left-hand side.
The Golem looking like it might get chewed up pretty quickly from that P.E.K.K.A. Although the Inferno Dragon does get a lock, the Golemites might get on the tower and do a little bit of work.
They are going to get that splash damage there and a few hits on their own as well, but still not the most optimal push for SK, as now they have to deal with all the troops coming their way from Dignitas, the miner in the back as well. Double miner actually coming in. Wow, look at this play on the right side.
The right-hand tower now down to under 1,600, but a tornado used to activate the King Tower. That's going to make it much more difficult for those miners.
That is going to make it much more difficult, but still, we are going to have the Witch just chugging away there on that tower. Great position for Dignitas here in the second game.
We are about to reach double elixir time. Dignitas ahead pretty significantly, getting the right-hand tower of SK Gaming down to 1197, the left down to 1754. So far, pressing their advantage. How much of an effect will that King Tower activation have as we see a Golem push building in the left-hand lane for SK Gaming?
This will definitely have an impact here. As you say, we are having this push coming out now as well. A solid offering for Flobby and Morton of SK Gaming, going to look to shut down this Golem on the left-hand side, immediately deleting the Executioner there with the rocket. The Golem will connect onto the tower. The P.E.K.K.A. is trying to rip it apart, but a beautiful counter rocket in return, but still a lot of damage has been done to that left tower.
I do love that rocket play on the Executioner. A lot of people put that on the P.E.K.K.A. in that situation, but knowing that the Golem was getting past the P.E.K.K.A., taking the Executioner out and making it a little bit easier from the Golemites, getting that left-hand tower down to 1107.
That was a big play there from Flobby and Morton. This Executioner has been a big part of this deck, and immediately we are seeing the additional response with that P.E.K.K.A. P.E.K.K.A. having a huge resurgence in the meta of late, shutting down a lot of these aggressive bridge spam aspects, which is heart of what we were seeing from SK. They're running a beautiful combination of the traditional beatdown with the gold, as well as these bridge spam elements with the zappies, with the log. So we'll see how that plays out from here as they're opting to switch lanes now. They have both of these towers down around 1100. This is a beautiful position for SK.
SK, though, still holding onto that right-hand tower at 552. Remember, the rocket is in play, so that could be spell cycled. But if Dignitas is not careful, they could lose their right-hand tower right here. That is it!
That is going to be it. SK taking game number 2. Beautiful play. Again, all about that combination of the traditional beatdown and throwing the bridge spam in as well. And they just got both towers whittled away enough that the second they were able to find that opening, they were able to execute it. I think Dignitas was so focused on that back right tower, like you said, but trying to get it down, they ignored the potential threat here.
Well, you can see so little elixir in the pot for Dignitas. They just didn't have anything to take care. And that battle ram, just by maybe half a tick, gets through and takes that tower down. It's so frustrating. You know you're in spell cycle range. You can't get the tower down. And now here we are heading to game number 3. SK Gaming and Team Dignitas trying to take the first set and head into a set of 1v1 with the advantage.
Both of these teams trying to close it out here. It's all about that momentum. We talk about this, but it really is a thing here. If you go in, you're feeling confident, you're like, look, I'm already up 1-0. It doesn't really matter if I lose this. I'm going to play a little more confident. I'm playing a little more aggressive. That kind of stuff is what can seal the deal for players here, especially on a stage like this when everybody is watching, your teammates are there behind you. Having them behind you, having the momentum is crucial.
And here we go, folks, the deciding game of our 2v2 set. Will it be Team Dignitas? Will it be SK Gaming? Will it be the Germans? Or will it be the French-Spanish combination taking things here in 2v2?
Can SK continue the little streak they are developing, or will it be Dignitas bringing it back, denying the reverse sweep? Both of these teams already starting off with some aggressive play. It's what I love to see.
A reminder one more time, the ban cards for 2v2, Lava Hound and Poison off the board.
Poison, of course, always a great card in the 2v2 match format. That big AoE area of effect spell, able to chunk through so many troops here as they are pushing in, whether it be on the bridge, whether it be in the back, connecting onto the tower as well. And I love this every single time, denying the Witch, not allowing those big troop buildups to come on through. This is exactly what I like from SK. Every single time we see Dig try and run this, like, nah, rocket every time.
And there we go, a nice little King Tower activation Tornado. And that's actually why you've probably seen Tornado banned so many times in 2v2, partially to stop the synergy with spells, but also once you get that double King Tower activated, especially if you're running decks that require being physically on the Princess Tower, that can have such a major effect.
Yeah, we've been seeing this a lot so far. I mean, it's just a lot easier to activate that King Tower in this situation, so there's a lot of, again, it's high risk, high reward with these minor plays. We are seeing the P.E.K.K.A. drop to respond to that as well. And then P.E.K.K.A. with that Inferno Dragon for both sides marching on in, but immediately getting deleted is the Inferno Dragon for Dignitas. This might be not a bad spot right now for SK.
I love the bat play, and we've seen the bats kind of be a superhero so far in this 2v2 set. We saw them in the last game doing some nice work on the tower of SK Gaming. They really, you know, you think so many times when you play bats in 1v1, when they actually get across the board, they just get taken down immediately by the Princess Tower. But so far here, doing a lot of work, especially at the river.
Yeah, Zap not quite connecting on all those zaps that you mentioned, helping to clean up both the Valkyrie and the Lumberjack there for SK. And now we're just seeing a couple cards cycled through right now. Nothing too crazy, wanting to shut down that push here, not take any additional damage was Dignitas. But this might now give a slight advantage over to SK if they want to mount a push of their own.
Interesting play with the Miner going on the inside half of the Princess Tower, where it's in range of both of the King Tower cannons.
Instantly getting shut down there in that situation. Now the Rage being dropped by that Lumberjack. Gonna get cleaned up pretty quickly, though, by SK Gaming, but I love to see this again. The Executioner Tornado combo, it's something we've seen a lot of in competitive play.
And now a lot of stuff building here for Max Lamanas and Wonka as they, well, now at that Fireball spoke a little bit too soon, but the Witch far enough behind might be able to do some good support here for the troops pushing ahead.
Just out of range of that Executioner's axe. No, pulling it back on in, but still in the back through all of this. We do have the Miner continually putting that pressure onto the tower, but still a great position for SK right now, keeping that pressure up. And again, putting it in range of that double King Tower. I'm pretty sure I love that.
Dignitas does need to change up their game plan here. They are letting the miners do a little bit more, maybe relying too much on that activated King Tower. Right now, it really looks like SK Gaming could be the ones in control, although there you go. Some nice work down to 6-13. Now it's Flobby and Morton on their back foot.
Now it's following the Morton on the back step. As you said, the Lumberjack getting through there. Lumberjack sort of run into the meat grinder there on the bridge, though. This could be a big deal here as the push is continuing in for SK. That is going to be it. Nicely done there from SK, turning it around over Dignitas, clutching it out there in game number 3.
The Germans with complete efficiency closing it out in the final moments of 2v2, taking the set and setting themselves to our 1v1 with the advantage.
It all just came down to this final push, able to line up everything there, just not enough elixir to deal with the problem. That was overkill from SK. Able to just put it away there in our third and final game, just using those a little bit of additional spells. Interesting to note, in this entire 2v2, no buildings.
No buildings played whatsoever. You know, we didn't see a lot of big tanking cards in that one to distract the buildings. So Flobby and Morton taking this one, you know, using a page from their opponent's book who spell cycled them down so hard in that previous game. This time they're the ones with the spell damage, using it to their advantage, taking the victory here in 2v2.
But we're not done yet. 1v1 is coming up right now. Can Dignitas find redemption? We're about to find out.
The 1v1 showdown is here. 2 pros equipped with their very best decks, each with a plan to foil the other. Who will deliver the W for his team? The time for action is now. W means win.
That it does, King. That it does. And everybody likes a W here in Clash Royale. 2 players looking for it from Team Dignitas. I am JP.
I'm JP here to keep Dignitas in this series, but he's going up against Low Eye from SK Gaming. This guy is an absolute beast. Combine standout here, banning out Zappies and Royal Hogs from both sides. No Hogs to deal with, no Hogs to contend with, and Zappies, we've seen them part of many decks here, Bridge Spam particularly, but we've seen a lot of different archetypes utilizing this troop.
Zappies being off the board does mean you might see a little bit more Electro Wizard, a little bit more Zap. Of course, both of those being very popular cards as well. But Zappies no longer having the split pressure of Zappies to allow you to kind of play with what your opponent thinks really changes some strategy for a number of our players.
Yeah, we'll see how they respond to that here. We'll see maybe some more airborne troops coming in. Lavaloon could be a little bit more prevalent here, not having the Royal Hogs, not having the Zappies in play. We'll see if that's what happens here in game number 1, set number 2. Let's get into it.
And we are off the first game of 1v1 Low Eye at the top of your screen. I am JP and Dignitas at the bottom.
Dignitas down 0-1 in this series so far. They need to rally to take us to King of the Hill. But a beautiful opening play there from SK and Low Eye with that Valkyrie positioning, pushing down that minor aggression.
And again, Zappies, I think making their first appearance on our ban list. I don't think we've seen them there before. Big part of the meta, of course, they are a great part of supporting Royal Hogs, but Royal Hogs being banned, not an issue there. Also really useful in stopping the Inferno Dragon. So now, again, I think we'll see some other options being taken the place of those Zappies.
Would not be surprised to see that here, but a beautiful hold coming out now from Low Eye. The P.E.K.K.A. and Bandit getting cleaned up with ease here. Once again, that Ice Wizard coming to fruition, and you called it there. The Electro Wizard is going to be utilized by IMGP, but it is the Graveyard now from Low Eye. In addition, with that Poison, that's going to be doing work.
Poison taking on the right-hand tower with the Ice Wiz. Looks like IMJP potentially looking, absorbing that from him, waiting for his own potential push, running the minor P.E.K.K.A. Poison deck. Maybe he believes that taking that and building Elixir Advantage is going to play out well for him.
I mean, IMJP now, every single time that Graveyard goes down, he has to think about his own poison. Can I deal with it without committing the poison myself? I mean, he can respond. He can counter the Graveyard every single time it comes down, but that is, you know, he's lacking then part of his aggressive push. He then needs to figure it out. Can I defend without it, or do I need to commit? That's the decision he's going to have to make all game long.
Not having enough Elixir to defend on the right-hand side, leaving IMJP down to a 13-11. That Poison now kind of stuck on his back. He's going to need that to defend the Graveyard. And so again, what are his options offensively? Now kind of maybe looking to sneak that the miner all the way through, maybe get a bandit across the river with a rush, but who knows. And now we're seeing some opportunities coming through, but the P.E.K.K.A. so easily distractible by small troops.
So easily distractible indeed, especially with the addition of this tombstone, just continually pumping out those skeletons. And with that as well, we are seeing the tornado pulling it back, but the Ice Wizard actually getting distracted by the miner in the back here, so not really helping to clean up those troops in the front. Still going to survive barely, but the miner was still able to get chip damage through all of that.
Graveyard play on the right-hand side by Loa. You did see the miner being played on the left, the poison in response from IMJP. So it looks like that might be the strategy. Get the miner on the board, maybe try to create a big push and hope the bandit gets lost in the mix. Nearly got the charge a few seconds ago on the left-hand side, but as we enter closer to sudden death overtime, it is Loai with the big-time lead on that right-hand tower.
Loai definitely having the advantage here, slowing down the troops of IMJP, keeping them in that poison. Beautiful play here from Loai, and of course having that tombstone in the back really just hindering that P.E.K.K.A. on these pushes, getting so distracted. I mean, I gotta give props to IMJP. He's getting in the chip damage on that left-hand tower. Maybe there's a chance he can continue here going forward as well, keeping that poison back for the graveyard. He's definitely still in this game.
Doing his best to stay live is IMJP, but Loai, again, with a lot of answers for what JP wants to do on the offensive side of the board. Now another graveyard coming in, and it's the bandit way in the back being forced to use on defense here, but still that tower down to under 700 hit points.
Oh man, that was not ideal there at all. Committing the bandit there for that defense, but then the poison coming out as well from Loai, cleaning that up as well as the skeletons, doing the damage to the tower, getting additional value there as well, cleaning up the bandit. That was a great trade for Loai.
Loai just wants to keep playing this thing smart, take himself just one win away from securing the victory for SK Gaming. And another graveyard push, this time a little better defense, the poison cleaning up those skeletons. And again, we have the P.E.K.K.A. in the back. Here's the big question. Can there be enough distraction to get a miner through and get the chip damage all the way down? Could the bandit escape and find its way to the tower? Not going to happen this time, but now we have two P.E.K.K.A.s across the river for IMJP.
Oh, the slowest little P.E.K.K.A.s ever, as the Ice Wizard just slows them down in the tombstone, keeps them distracted. On the back left-hand side, though, we are actually seeing a King Tower activation very late in the game here, but that is going to help the defense from Loai, bringing that back, not allowing the additional chip damage to come in as well. We are seeing, once again, the defensive poison coming out now from IMJP, but still the damage is getting through.
That's going to have to be it. Looks like Loai about to close this thing out with the poison. Not quite going to get there, but he will be so close within range of death. It's as long as he can play some smart defense here, not make any real mistakes, this thing should be all sewn up.
This thing that's basically going to be a good game already being called by Loai. Well played being conceded there by IMJP. That is going to be it. Loai take your first game.
Really tough position for IMJP. You know, he was hanging in there, but as soon as that King Tower was activated, even the chip damage from the miner was not going to be enough to get him in contention.
The difference maker really in this game was the fact that Loai found the perfect defensive answer, the fact that he didn't have to commit always his own poison for that scenario. He was able to kite it back with the Ice Wizard, with the Tombstone, which meant that he could pretty consistently drop his own graveyard and his own poison on the offense, meaning no matter what, he was able to cycle that through. He was guaranteeing himself damage. Whereas on the other side, IMJP always had to commit that poison for defense. He then couldn't use a key part of his own win condition, that minor poison, to secure himself the win. And from there on in, that was basically going to be all she wrote.
Pretty nasty work here for the SK Gaming representative Loai. Now just one win away from closing this thing out for his team. On the other side of the board, IMJP looking to send us to a third game with a win here and hopefully get us one step closer to King of the Hill.
We'll see if he can do it now as we get into this second game. IMJP needs to channel all of the energy of Dignitas here in the set. He needs to take it to Loai. He needs to take them to game number 3.
A little bit of rage from IMJP. Grr, I want to get back in this one. And right out the gate, looking to mount a push on the right-hand side, the cannon cart comes out behind the Ice Golem.
Look, his emotions are a little fickle. He's also crying. Let's not worry about it. Let's not overthink this here as the cannon cart is pushing that Ice Golem across the bridge here. Is going to fall, and we are going to be seeing a nice hold there with that Lumberjack. So that's exactly what Loa is going to look to do here. Neither side overcommitting really, but we are seeing the Hog coming out now from IMJP.
And there is the Tornado. The Hog activating the King Tower, going to make things very difficult for JP as we move along through this map.
So many more of these decks are running that Tornado, which means that a lot of these cards are just a little bit more of a liability for some of these decks. We see it with the Miner, we see it with the Hog, just easy activation there on that King Tower. It doesn't look like a whole lot, but that defensive prowess does add up.
The Inferno Dragon and the Poison plus the Valkyrie doing a good job of stopping this push in its tracks. And now the ball is in IMJP's court. What can he mount in reverse?
I mean, only 100 damage going through on that Night Witch Golem push. That was a very solid defense there from IMJP. And Valkyrie is going to get a couple swings here onto this tower. So he's actually going to do even more damage with that than he took there on that entire Golem trade.
He is so fast. Without a building, it's going to be hard to keep that Golem under control. But remember, IMJP playing the smaller, faster deck. Can he create some counter pushes, maybe some lane switches, and punish that Golem when it gets down? That's yet to be seen. Again, without those buildings, his real only hope is hoping maybe the cannon cart goes into phase 2 and do something there.
I mean, Hunter's a great response for these tanks, but I think it's still going to be a bit of a struggle here for IMJP in this double elixir time, having this big Golem at the back, having this big push, and actually missing that log there. Interesting play, rolling right over the head of that Lumberjack.
Maybe we'll see some like up close to the river plays with the cannon cart, hoping that it starts doing damage. Yeah, see, I think we might see this. The Golem will get past the cannon cart. The hope here is that it gets a little bit past, and as the cannon cart drops, turns back and uses that second phase as the building. And here, still going to slow it down a little bit, and then we get, of course, the Hunter, which as you get close, so devastating.
Yeah, the Hunter, watch how fast it helps to take down this assault right now, but still some damage is getting through to this tower. And this is exactly what Loai is going to look to do here. Just chip this away, the war of attrition. But on the other side, IMGP with the Hog and the cannon cart, this is a great response. And only having that Tornado there to deal with this right now, this is going to be a lot of damage going through.
Wow, no really good solution on the left-hand side, and IMJP nearly getting it down all the way, just saved by the Mega Minion. Now the question is, can IMJP hold strong against this counter push and get one more good shot on that left-hand tower?
Smartly switching lanes right now is Loai. He realizes he's in a rough position here. Yes, he has that big beatdown style deck, but against the quick, nimble deck of IMJP, they're able to sneak with the cannon cart in those key moments. This is going to be a very tough time to answer this. The Lumberjack is trying to chase it down. Can they make it happen?
The Hog does not quite get on the tower, but we do get Poison on the left-hand side.
Yep.
Looks like that's going to be GG's. The cannon cart finishing it off, and IMJP breathing life into Team Dignitas.
Wow, that was beautiful play there from IMJP. I was thinking, maybe as we get into double extra time, maybe the Golem's going to have an advantage, but no. Just having more elixir to work with, finding those beautiful split pushes was IMJP, not playing to Loai's win condition. They're saying, look, I know you're trying to push me down with that Golem. That's totally fine. I'm just going to create problems you don't have answers to.
Well, look at how many air troops there are in Loai's deck. You have, of course, the Mega Minion, you have the Baby Dragon, and then you have, of course, the big push with the Golem, but not a lot of immediate answers when you drop the cannon cart and the Hog together. And it looked like maybe IMJP had a good read on the cycle of Loai and figured out when the best time was to drop that combination.
Absolutely. He felt so comfortable there in that game. Took a lot of damage to that right-hand tower, but knew when push comes to shove, he could execute his own counter pushes, always staying composed. That was crucial there in that match.
So here we are, game number 3 of our 1v1 set. Will it be SK Gaming's Loai closing things out for his team, or will IMJP send Dignitas into King of the Hill?
We're going to see here as already both players starting things off nice, a glacier slow, I guess you could say, as these Ice Golems just happily marching their way across the battlefield. We are seeing the Inferno Dragon joining Loai here, and once again the Hunter for IMJP.
Hopefully some of our newer viewers at home taking a look what these pros are doing, seeing how often Ice Golem makes its way into some of these decks. If you're not already paying attention to the meta, playing some of those standard decks, you'll see here now how valuable they can be.
Oh, slight mispositioning there on that Magic Archer, not able to get the splash damage onto the tower there in the back. So this is a really nice position for IMJP right now, getting a couple hits in, or the one hit in with that Hog Rider. I know when I first started playing as well, the Ice Golem didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I'm like, oh, it doesn't have a ton of HP and it's slow, it doesn't really go out to the buildings, but watch what happens here.
Look right there, the Lumberjack staying off the towers, still IMJP so far playing clean with no damage on his side of the board.
Using it to what we call kite your opponent's units or keep them out of range. It's going to chase them around, follow them across the board, and not get a whole lot of actual work done. We saw it just there in that last moment, having it chased down with that Lumberjack. That's exactly what you want to use with this card. It's so great for stalling out your opponent's pushes.
IMJP running it back the same way as before. The Hunter getting a lot of value for just those 4 elixir, stopping just the Inferno Dragon and the Battle Ram in its tracks with a little bit of help.
A little bit of help there. The Inferno Dragon now with that reduced range, not able to get a whole lot of damage, almost none, onto that right-hand tower there. But we are going to see the Hog response now from IMJP. Neither one of these players has really found a dent in their opponent yet.
The Lumberjack taking down the Hog Rider, but not before it gets one swing in, and that might really be the difference. One swing at a time for the Hog Rider. You know, you're playing that cycle deck. So many of you want to just make sure it takes the whole thing down at once. But oh no, look at the left-hand side. The poison, yes, taking the Magic Archer, but missing the tower of Low-Eye.
Fully going to take down that Magic Archer, but not getting that damage onto the tower as well. That was definitely a misplay there from IMJP. That was not optimal at all. So we're going to see if this damage can continue on through here. One slight mistake like that will definitely look to rattle you potentially. The Magic Archer's here in the back once again, helping to take this down, but still a good hold from Dignitas.
Halfway through double elixir time, almost to our sudden death overtime. The deck's pretty balanced right now, but the question is, can Low-Eye find a way to stop that Hog?
I mean, the Hog is pretty much going to get at least one hit in every single time. He doesn't have a perfect counter. He doesn't have that perfect response. So we'll see if he can just make something happen by split pushing, doing great things like this. Watch that pushing back. There we go. The better positioning, though, on the Magic Archer. The Log is going to push it back out of range, but as you can see, it was still getting that split damage through that Valkyrie. But now we are seeing the cannon cart getting over the bridge.
Brilliant log play from IMJP, pushing that Magic Archer back. We are now 20 seconds into sudden death overtime. If Low-Eye cannot find a way to stop that Hog, it's going to be difficult for him. But again, IMJP has to make sure that we don't get a split push and sneak something in on the left-hand side.
Yeah, as you said, it's going to be one hit at a time here. They will literally take down this game with one hit at the Hog at a time. Slowly, surely, over time, that right-hand Princess Tower will fall. Low-Eye needs to find an answer right now. He needs to look to deal with this.
So many ways to distract that Inferno Dragon, and again, it's going to be one, potentially almost 2 hits of the Hog Rider. Down to just 1058 is the right Princess Tower of Low-Eye.
And again, in this war of attrition, IMJP has the advantage right now. Low-Eye needs to try a different strategy. He needs to figure out something different right now. He needs to try and find something, whether it be a split push, whether it be some sort of additional response. He needs to make something happen right now, because every single time the defense from IMJP is pretty darn near perfect.
Now keep in mind, we are approaching the halfway point of our overtime, and if Low-Eye cannot, or sorry, if IMJP can't find a way to keep getting those Hog hits on, now it's looking a little bit better. I was going to say that he needs to figure out how to get those Hog hits on there and prevent this thing from being a draw and sending us to a final tiebreaker match, but those hits there get to 530 in much better range. IMJP now just needs to play smart, play good defense, and close this thing out.
He needs to close this out. He overcommitted a little bit on that one push there, taking damage on both of his towers, but now we are just outside of double poison range on that right-hand tower with the Log as well. 300 is the magic number when it comes to Log and poison.
And now the cannon cart pulling the Royal Ghost across. A little bit of a desperation fireball there. Will the elixir catch up to him? We will see in a moment. But oh, the Royal Ghost sneaking through, and possibly will the Ram get on there? I don't think so. Oh, the fireball pushes it away. The right-hand tower of IMJP just barely holding on at 437 with just 40 seconds left in our sudden death overtime.
Low-Eye is going off here at the end of this game. The Hog is trying to get through. One more hit. It's going to do it. IMJP from Dignitas taking this game here, taking the set. Low-Eye almost finding a way back through, fighting tooth and nail in that last game.
The golden-haired golden boy from Barcelona, Spain, finding a way to get it done, really nearly letting the win slip through his fingers, but he made the right move, got that Hog Rider all the way to the tower, and that is it. We are now going to be going to King of the Hill.
King of the Hill, of course, our tiebreaker matchup. We'll talk about it a little bit more. It's our favorite game type here because it gives an opportunity for both these teams to really show off their amazing individual 1v1 prowess. Each team will field 3 players. Each one of those players will have 1 life. The first team to get 3 wins takes the set.
And now to figure out what those lineups will be, and of course to discuss the ban cards, we're going to take a look inside our war rooms.
Right, boys. We know where we are. We wanted to be here. We prepared for the King of the Hill. Up first, we got the French Beast. We got Max. Going in at number 2nd. It's you, buddy. And at third, if we won't need you, but JP, we need you. Just clutch up, buddy. Right, boys. We know the bans are Royal Hogs and Cannon Cart. We've got the decks we want to play. Now it's time to show the world the Fnatic was a fluke.
Let's go.
1, 2, 3. Dig wing!
For King of the Hill, I would say that our order, first, we put Flobby. We know what Flobby is capable of, and we know that he can surprise us all, so I hope it happens today again. Second, we put Morton. I know that Morton still, it's going to be the first time that he's going to play 1v1 on the tournament, but we know what he's capable of, and he's also an excellent duelist, so we trust on Morton as well, in case Flobby is not there anymore. And last but not least, we put Matt. Pretty sure to know that Matt wants to redeem himself from against G2, and I know that he has the strength and the willing to beat them. I hope that you don't play though. But pretty sure that we have a solid King of the Hill. We're ready for it. We know they are. We just play our decks as usual, and we show them who is SK.
This battle is as deadlocked as a baby dragon standoff. Both teams have dropped towers and have had their towers dropped. Now, Team Dignitas and SK Gaming, let's settle this with King of the Hill.
It all comes down to this, folks. 3 opportunities for each team to secure the victory, and both fielding lineups with some fantastic players.
Both of these teams fielding 3 players here, but theoretically one of them can knock down all of the others. Maximanas Wonka, I am JP for Dignitas, Flobby Morton, and Matt01 for SK Gaming. These are 2 solid lineups. We've seen these players play. We know what they have. We know their potential.
And a reminder, we have a new set of ban cards for King of the Hill, which will be active for all of the potentially 5 games here. And let's take a look at what we got. We have Cannon Cart and Royal Hogs off the board.
Cannon Cart and Royal Hogs, 2 of the strongest cards in the meta after the most recent update. And having both of these players denied, it kind of feels like we're going back to like classic Royale. A lot of these traditional meta decks are making a resurgence here, and I absolutely love to see it. I love a lot of these classic decks coming up and you know, sort of showing their style here once again in the meta.
Certainly kind of a pattern developing here with some of these King of the Hill bans, sending us, as you said, to classic Royale. Those of you who are fans of some of those meta decks pre the rise of Cannon Cart and the Royal Hogs might be in for a treat here as we begin King of the Hill.
Let's see what these players are opting to bring to the table here for our very first game. Of course, these are all best of 1, so if you've got something a little bit unique, maybe something a little bit off kilter, a little off meta, this is maybe the time to bring it out and catch your opponent off guard.
Flobby at the top of your screen, Diggs, Maximanas at the bottom of the screen for you to follow along the action.
Follow along with a bandit having a little hopping around time, chasing all those skeletons in, going to get cleaned up there as well. But playing both the bandit and the battle ram at the back is Maximanas, meaning that it's going to give ample opportunity. There we go for Flobby to clean this up.
Looking like some potential big bridge spam.
There we go.
We're both so pumped about this. Some bridge spam coming from Max Lemonas. Of course, the flying machine now, been interesting, been very valuable in 2v2, has not made a ton of appearances in 1v1 here at CRL.
Not made a whole lot of appearances here, but again, it is part of this traditional bridge spam deck we are now seeing being run here by Max Lemonas. Traditionally, what you want to do is you want to drop down those zappies in the back, you want to split them, and depending on how your opponent responds to them, that's where you want to go in and find that big opening here. However, we're still yet to see a crucial win condition here for Flobby. We'll see what he opts to bring out, or if he's waiting for double elixir time.
And the battle ram will not make it to the tower as we reach the halfway point of regulation time. The players pretty much even here so far in the HP.
Pretty much even. A lot of stunts coming out with these lightning shocks from both the E-Wiz and those zappies here, slowing down the counter push there of Flobby. Neither side super committing. I figured it was going to be the golem beatdown coming in from him now. Approaching double elixir time, looks to be exactly that.
You know, when you're at home, if you see someone building up to 10, typically you're expecting some sort of big card being played. Now, interesting note, often you would see that golem played behind the king tower, instead opting to play it up in front of the princess to save the damage on the left-hand side.
Saving that damage there as well. I don't dislike this decision at all, getting great value there, connecting onto this tower. Of course, you do have the P.E.K.K.A. in this deck to clean it up, but still, that was a lot of damage going all the way through, but now it is the time for Max Lemonas to respond. He has the Bandit getting that over, he has the Ram as well, but of course the P.E.K.K.A. is still the card that needs to be dealt with.
That's a beautiful Valkyrie play there up at the top by the river, drawing all of Max Lemonas' offensive cards back away from the Princess Towers and getting them down, saving himself a ton of damage as SK's Flobby.
That was a beautiful defense. That was an actual beautiful defense from Flobby. There we go, drawing all those cards in the middle, as you say, baiting out the Ram there in the middle, cleaning up those Barbarians as well. That is exactly the position he wants to be in. He's barely taken a single hit of damage on either one of these Princess Towers.
And now a Golem at the river. The P.E.K.K.A. drops to counter, but it looks like we will probably see that Golem get through at least maybe the Golemites as we have the Fireball pushing the E-Wiz out of the way.
We did finally see a Bandit connection on that top right-hand tower, but still, it's not enough damage here at this stage. This back left-hand tower being chunked down by these golems slowly but surely for Flobby. He is looking to clean this up. The P.E.K.K.A. marching into the tower. Will there be a response? The hit is going to connect, and that's two. Beautiful push there.
Two massive swings. We saw Flobby play the same defensive sequence, putting the tombstone in the middle and then trying to get the Valkyrie behind it, but it does not stop the damage from the P.E.K.K.A. And here, another miss. It's the Bandit getting to the right-hand tower with the charge dam. Flobby really in trouble here in sudden death overtime.
Max Lemonas finding his pace, getting his perfectly on cycle right now to end this game, getting Bandits through, getting P.E.K.K.A. hits through, getting Rams charging down the lanes right now, and watch how fast the towers of Flobby are falling. What was an impeccable hold from him to start this game is collapsing here. The defense is falling apart.
It really comes all down to that Valkyrie play, just being a half-second late, letting that P.E.K.K.A. sneak through. At that point, you are just scrambling to find some way to stay alive, and that is it. The P.E.K.K.A. gets the hit on the left-hand side. Man, you know, Flobby really had an excellent defensive game plan, but just a split-second difference can change everything.
Between the P.E.K.K.A. connections, between the Bandit, between the Flying Machine, every single part of that deck there came out and found its mark. We see it here, the P.E.K.K.A. marching on through, finding those two key hits that made all the difference in this game.
You got to wonder if that Valkyrie was one tower to the left, would that P.E.K.K.A. have gotten all the way to the tower? It was Max Lemonas doing a great job of splitting the attention of his opponent and never allowing him to get behind the Golem in the push the way that he needed.
That was really what Bridge Spam does. That's what it excels at, is keeping up that pressure on both sides, forcing those responses. As you said, the Golem, it's beat down. You're supposed to put the tank in front, put the support troops behind, push it on through. We know how that archetype is supposed to function. But that means that Max Lemonas knows how that archetype is supposed to function, which means he knows exactly how to shut it down. This was a good matchup here from him. What was a solid opening defense just crumbled in the late game.
One win down, two more to go for Max Lemonas, hoping to close this thing out. Could he go on a 3-0 run for his team here in King of the Hill? But standing in his way, the 17-year-old from Hanover, Germany, Morten.
Game number 2. Can Max Lemonas keep this going, or will Morten shut him down and bring SK and put them on the board here. King of the Hill, of course, I love to see just this 1v1, one game says all scenario, which again, if you can bring a fun, creative deck to the process here, if you can get that amazing counter, find yourself in a great position here. So far, Zappies for both sides. Looks like Max Lamanas is running the same deck we saw before. Will Morten have the answer?
Very possibly Morten, of course, number 22 on the world ladder at one point in his career, number 2 at the CRL Combine, a standout looking to make his name here at CRL.
Looking to make a name for himself right now, but going up against a confident powerhouse in Max Lamanas. Good defense there with the fireball, shutting this down. That was a beautifully executed hold there from Morten.
A nicely timed Royal Ghost picking up the Barbarians as they jump out from under their battle ram. But now, will it get to the tower? A little distraction here from the Bandit, the Royal Ghost going down before doing any damage.
Not going to be able to connect there onto the tower, making it corporeal is going to be that Bandit, and then charging right on into her demise as we have a Zappy battle in the middle here. But this Flying Machine, utilizing its max range, going to be picking those up and helping out the push here from Max.
And the Zappies now getting across the board, but again, you see the Ice Golem getting in the way. Not much damage on the right-hand side. As we move into the halfway point of our regulation time, things are pretty much even.
Things are pretty much even here. We'll wait to see that P.E.K.K.A being dropped here from Max at some point if he needs to on the defensive side of things. We're probably going to see it here in just a second. No, still opting to use the Bandit to clean this up. Beautiful timing on that, getting the perfect charge here. But on the left-hand side, the Royal Ghost getting all the way through onto this tower. Going to get a few key hits in.
And now it's Morten's turn to do some damage, taking the left-hand tower down to 1886 as we enter double elixir time.
Double elixir time, and now we are seeing the Inferno Dragon coming out from Morten. We'll see how he... Oh, look at the positioning on this as well with the P.E.K.K.A on this other side here, drawing it into the middle with this battle ram. Oh, what a beautiful play for Morten, bringing the P.E.K.K.A in range of that Inferno Dragon. That was absolutely massive, and we are going to see the connection on the other side with that battle ram there too as well. Did it actually find the tower? I don't think it did.
It didn't quite get there. A smart play from both players. Max Lamanas sending in the P.E.K.K.A on the offense rather than defensive side to try to sneak a battle ram through. He does get the charge hit, but again, then on the other side, the battle ram for Morten kiting the P.E.K.K.A across the board into Inferno Dragon territory.
That was absolutely massive. What a beautiful play there, because the Inferno Dragon had already been played. So that was a really sick play to just pull over the P.E.K.K.A onto the side. But now we are seeing the Inferno Dragon potentially connecting there onto the tower. It will get a few hits in there. And as we get out of our regulation play into our sudden death overtime, sitting in a very good position is SK's Morten.
And now the battle ram getting all the way to the tower. Morten really putting the work on, really putting the pressure on here in our overtime. Remember, if one tower goes down, that will be it for the player. The Fireball now taking care of the Flying Machine. The Zappies doing their best to both do some offense and slow down that battle ram as it gets picked up by the Royal Ghost.
Those are some angry Zappies doing some work here as we see both sides just bringing out the bridge spam, keeping up the pressure here. Both towers are getting low from Max Lamanas. The Royal Ghost once again going to connect here as well, and I think that might be it with the Lumberjack there. Yes, it is. SK's Morten taking game number 2.
Max got behind on Elixir and just couldn't catch up. Morten doing a great job showing again why he's a standout for his nation and CR nations, why, of course, he was number 2 at the CRL Combine, why, of course, he's made up so high on the ladder. He got the advantage, kept the pressure on, and got the win.
Keeping that pressure on. It was a bunch of sick plays like this, bringing the P.E.K.K.A over to the mid, kiting it out beautifully, having it chase across, and just getting absolutely demolished by that Inferno Dragon. Those kind of sick plays are what kept him in this game and got him the win.
And there we go, the final Fireball, getting rid of those Zappies, making room for the Lumberjack and Royal Ghost to close things out. And that is Morten tying things up in King of the Hill. And now up next for Team Dignitas is the Puerto Real, Spain 21-year-old Wonka.
Oh, yes. First place in Super League Orange 1 and 2. Wonka, an absolute beast. Only started playing competitively a year, I was going to say an hour ago. Could you imagine? A year ago. But still, this guy has shown himself as an all-star here, coming in from Spain. This player is definitely one to watch.
We'll see what he can do here up against Morton, who's got to be feeling good getting that one for his team. Remember now, both teams only have 2 players left. Both teams are now only 2 wins away from taking this thing and moving 1 step up in the standings.
Will Wonka make it happen, or will Morton keep going on the train? Will he keep the win streak alive for his squad? We'll see now with the Zappies being dropped once again in the back. It looks like a lot of bridge spam being the happy place for these players.
Really a lot of fast action today so far in these matches. You know, so the first week of CRL, a lot of big plays, a lot of big, heavy pushes behind tanks. But today we've seen a lot more speed from some of these decks, especially in our 1v1 matchups.
And it looks like we might see a beatdown coming out now from Morton here with that Night Witch, potentially a Giant or Golem with that as well. And there's the Golem in the back. But Wonka actually changing up, having the Zappies in more of a control style deck here with that Tombstone here as well. So going to be mixing things up here from him.
Reminder, the bans here, Royal Hogs and Cannon Cart, neither will make an appearance throughout King of the Hill.
And it was a really interesting, aggressive Golem coming out now, having already played the Night Witch. This is going to be fairly unsupported here, just having the Baby Dragon behind it. And again, having that additional control with the Zappies, with the Tombstone in the middle. This Golem is going to have a bit of a hard time.
You gotta wonder if part of that Golem play was planned to keep those troops pinned in the backfield. You saw the poison there cleaning some of them up. It might have been a defensive, aggressive Golem play.
I love it. That's exactly it. It's the defensive, aggressive Golem play. I know I'm going to push it to the back, keep your troops back. So really it's defense for me, because at the end of the day, your troops are on your side of the field.
And we're getting very close to double elixir time. The slight lead on the board, at least on the left-hand side for Morton, but both towers just a little bit damaged, done by Wonka.
Just that initial chip damage coming in to start this off. Nothing too substantial there. Once again, is going to be the Golem at the bridge, being pushed along here by that Night Witch, that additional support with the bats in the sky, spawning, keeping those going here. But we do see, of course, that Tombstone denying that Golem aggression, bringing it into the mid as well, with the Valkyrie spinning through the midst of all of this. But a nice tornado with that Golem there to bring them in to maximize that splash damage.
The Golemite, at least one getting to the tower. It'll get a couple of hits there. And now as we get deeper into double elixir time, it's Morton putting the bigger lead on the left-hand tower.
Yeah, Golem NATO now coming in from Morton. Again, a deck you've probably been seeing on the ladder quite a bit. Utilizing one of the key components of this Golem card, that splash damage. When it dies, it does create a huge radius splash around it, doing a lot of damage to those cards. If you can bring in all of your opponent's troops on top of that with that tornado, you can really get maximum value from that death damage.
Morton being really aggressive with his Golems in this play, and a big part of that might be why we have not seen a clear win condition from Wonka yet. You know, when you're playing defense so much, it's hard to get on the offensive side of the board, and here we are, Morton, looking like it might be about time to close this thing out as we are into sudden death overtime.
I think that's going to be it. That's going to be all she wrote. Marching right on in. Wonka just did not have the answers there. Never a moment where he was in control of that game. That was the Morton show right there. Those aggressive Golems constantly going to be, the second that last Golem made to the tower, they knew that was going to be it.
Some difficult decisions to be made by Wonka. You saw he showed it was Graveyard there at the last second. You know, very tough for him here. It might have been he was just out of cycle and never had the correct cards for his defensive plays.
I mean, once you get to this point now, you know, with the death, almost the death damage alone, this tower is going to go down, and just getting that, again, all that additional damage. Watch how fast those Zappies fall, bringing them in on the back of that tornado. That was just beautiful play for Morton.
And now one player remains for Team Dignitas, a man we already saw show off pretty nicely in 1v1. Up next, it's going to be Morton trying to finish things off against the golden sensation, the golden boy of Barcelona, Spain. I am JP.
Already showing that he can take a 1v1 matchup, bringing us here to our King of the Hill. The anchor now for Team Dignitas going up against SK. SK still has 2 lives remaining, but it's going to be Morton looking to seal it out right here, right now.
I am JP needs to win 2 in a row to save this thing, to clutch this thing for Team Dignitas, but we know he is capable. He's shown that so far here in the CRL arena. But again, two very difficult players for him to go up against, Morten, and then of course followed by Matt01.
Oh yeah, this is going to be a tough two opponents to go through. All of this is on their shoulders right now. IMJP needs to go off for Dignitas. Can he make it happen?
And to remind you once again, we are in Clash Royale Classic. The Royal Hogs and Cannon Cart both off the board for this entire King of the Hill set.
We're eventually going to have to rename that when the changes come through in the next patch, and maybe those cards aren't going to be quite so strong. We'll see. We'll approach that. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. You know who's not crossing bridges? It's actually this miner right here. Apparently, he's just really good at digging. Apparently, it's not magic. It's a shovel.
We saw IMJP have some great success with the Hog earlier, this time going for a miner deck, but it's the Lava Hound coming out for Morten.
The Lava Hound out now, supported by that Mega Minion and the Inferno Dragon in the back as well. So we are actually going to see this Lava Hound get pretty much on into this tower here, get a few hits in with the pups, but still an overall solid defense from IMJP.
IMJP holding strong here as the first minute passes. Both towers on the right-hand side taking some damage, a slight lead for the Spaniard from Dignitas.
Slight lead here from him, just cycling out here as well. I was going to say cycling out on that tombstone, but now we just see the miner and the balloon coming on through. The balloon is definitely going to connect right here as well, just not having the response that we'll look at a second hit. Not quite, but still the death damage. That tower is almost gone.
Maybe a split second away was IMJP from taking that tower all the way down, but still the damage is done down to 365 on the back of the minor balloon work from IMJP.
Just not a great position right there for Morten to respond to that balloon. Beautiful positioning and timing from IMJP, realizing there wasn't going to be a response for that there. Just not having the troops in hand was Morten. At this level, these players know what's in their opponent's decks. They know the cycle. They're counting the elixir. They know what they're going to have on hand to try and deal with this. And I also say a beautiful positioning on that Ice Golem to soak up that initial impact there from the Inferno Dragon. Still going to get the other one down, but that was a nice little play there from IMJP.
Morten, though, pushing the Inferno Dragon behind the Lava Hound using Fireball, and now because of that, able to get the Princess Tower down to under 800, making things a little easier as we get closer, as we get into double elixir time.
This right-hand tower, of course, is in Fireball range, so at any point, IMJP can end this out. He's going to push it down, though, by normal means, while also simultaneously defending his tower here. We are seeing that aggressive Lava Hound once again. IMJP needs to play this perfectly.
And there's the balloon. It is Lava Loon for Morten, trying to sneak that thing through, but not going to get past the aerial defenses of IMJP. Of course, you see the Mega Minion out there, the Inferno Dragon out there, just making it, giving no lane for the balloon to get through.
And in the back, through all of it, the miner finds its way home. IMJP taking it here for Dignitas, taking us to our final game, King of the Hill.
It is the golden-haired golden boy from Spain doing it for Team Dignitas, taking us all the way to the final possible set, the final possible game. Everything rides on this next matchup, and making his debut in this match is about to be Morten. But first, let's take a look at that final bit of defense, trying to sneak that balloon through, but between the tombstone and the flying troops in its way, it couldn't get there. One more man down, and IMJP is one game away from clutching this thing from Team Dignitas.
And all who stands in his way is Matt01. IMJP on an absolute tear so far in these 1v1 matchup. And just one man stands in his way, and stands in the way of Dignitas, securing their first win here in the Clash Royale League.
What a difficult person to draw here for your final game of King of the Hill. Matt01, of course, the Italian captain at Clash Royale Nations, a very experienced tournament player. You know, one of those guys who we didn't see in 1v1, but there's a reason they pull him out here for King of the Hill.
There is definitely a reason he is their anchor here. You know, top 16 CCGS Europe, top 8 ESWC. This guy is a champion, and he is going to represent that here for his squad, try and secure the win for SK.
IMJP once again at the bottom of your screen. Matt01 for SK at the top. One more time reminding you, Royal Hogs and Cannon Cart are off the board.
Off the board. We're going old school here, and starting things off, we are seeing that good old Goblin Barrel. Not a card we've seen a lot of the plays.
We've seen very little Goblin Barrel, really not much in the way of bait play at all here in Clash Royale League. You know, still to see how this whole deck develops, but making a rare appearance, at least we've seen it in 2v2, not so much in 1v1.
Yeah, but looks like it is going to be bait here or some variation here for Matt01. So bringing out a different style right now. We're going old school as we're pushing in on the left-hand side. This is a solid push, though, coming out the Valkyrie, but perfect positioning. Look at those goblins in the back. They are going to be doing work.
Those of you who are not familiar with the term bait, that's a deck where you use a lot of smaller cards designed to draw out or bait out the spells of your opponent, trying to bait out things like Log, Fireball, Zap, whatever he has in his hand, and open up opportunities for other small cards to do their damage. So you're going to see Matt cycling through, especially with that Princess and that Goblin Barrel, over and over and over again, trying to get away on that tower, and so far doing it to great success.
Yeah, this actually looks like one of these new Log bait decks that's actually cycling around on ladder a little bit here. Bringing it out right now is Matt01 and finding a lot of success with it as well. Again, just you draw out a response in one way and you get value here. So now that the Fireball has been burned, there needs to be a response somewhere else. The Zap also being committed here. So nicely done, just having all these small troops cycling through quickly, not allowing IMJP to get a foothold.
And Matt forcing JP to make some unfortunate trades. You know, you saw him play the Princess right at the river at the same time as the Barrel on the tower, forcing IMJP to spend 4 elixir on the Fireball to stop 3 from the Goblin Barrel. That's what he wants to do over and over and over again as we head into double elixir time.
So we're going to have, you know, just keep cycling on through here. Just need to get it below that key rocket threshold here. And actually just giving up the tower now is IMJP, realizing he cannot take this. He dropped the Lava Hound on the right-hand side as well. He's saying, you know what, I'm going to give that up. I'm going to focus on getting a win condition of my own. It's likely going to be a rocket as the last card here as well for IMJP. So we can get those cards down to a crucial range or use it for defense here against this push being mounted from IMJP.
Interesting play, putting the Goblin Barrel on that left-hand tower. I would have thought he would have saved that with probably the rocket as his last card. I was thinking maybe he'd done some gamesmanship and had a building in there to stop against the Lava Hound push, the Lava Loon push, but I'm guessing not. It looks like he's going to hold on. There are only 18 seconds remaining, but a lot of cards on the board. No, this should probably be it with the King Tower still near 2,000 hit points. It looks like Matt01 is going to get the first bait victory here in 1v1 at CRL.
Well, it's not quite over yet, but it is looking good here for Matt. There is still an opportunity for IMJP to clutch this out if he can just find a way here. But you're absolutely right. With the way this tower is sitting right now, he's definitely on the backstep. The balloon is coming in once more. The Fireball to try and knock this back. He's committing to the 3 crown as IMJP.
Remember, this is match point. Everybody watching at home, whoever wins this next moment wins the entire match and takes this thing for their team. And now the right-hand Princess Tower down to 355. But again, look, that King Tower down to 1632. Matt doesn't have a fantastic answer to that balloon. Just one can sneak through and change everything.
He's running the rocket here, so the Fireball here instead of the rocket in this particular matchup, trying to put that Valkyrie through the pocket, but having the Fireball response on the left-hand side as well. We are seeing, look at this, the connection there, and the Dragon as well. Oh no, but that's going to be it. Oh my God! No!
Snatching victory from the jaws of defeat is the golden-haired golden boy from Spain, IMJP. Wow, you know, I spoke way too soon. I really thought Matt01 had this whole thing wrapped up. He played bait to perfection. But in the end, when he hit double elixir time, he simply did not have the answer to the Lava Loon deck and changing lanes. And you think there at that moment, changing lanes, such a risky play, but pays off for IMJP. Unbelievable. And he clutches this thing for Dignitas, giving them their first victory here at Clash Royale League.
Rich, the Fireball was in the air. It was on its way. It was in range. We are talking fractions of seconds. That balloon gets the hit. They think they've done the math. They think they've done it all. And we saw it. Matt01 with so many great initial plays to start this off. He gets so much amazing poke damage. The chip damage is there. But then finally, IMJP just bites the bullet, takes the tower loss, and pushes all the way through. He evens it up. He stabilizes here somewhat. But this is the moment. You have the Inferno Dragon. You have the balloon. And watch this. It gets it in that final moment.
So fascinating. We love the photo finishes here in Clash Royale. It's really what the game's all about. You know, we didn't see that Fireball until very late in the game. You got to wonder if that was the right call over the Rocket, or maybe, thinking he'd been against, there's been so many big beatdown decks, maybe throwing some sort of building in there to give himself a little bit of a cushion. But, he played it nearly perfectly. It came down to the very last moment, but it was IMJP who was just a little bit too wily, a little bit too squirrely, securing the victory for Team Dignitas.
Absolute hysteria. You want to talk about a photo finish? That was it. Absolutely beautiful play. We had an amazing series. It went the distance all the way down into Game 5 of King of the Hill, finally ending with 0.1 seconds remaining.
I've said it so many times today, but it's worth repeating. The hero of the match, the golden-haired golden boy from Barcelona, Spain, IMJP, is standing by with Christy St. John.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with JP and his translator. You are the superhero of this match. You beat the 1v1, took it to the King of the Hill, and then you crushed it in King of the Hill. How does it feel?
La verdad que muy bien. O sea, en la última partida no me lo esperaba ganar. Muchos nervios porque es mi primera competición, pero bueno, muy bien.
So he said that it was a really great match, and the last game he didn't think that he won, but he did, and I'm so happy too. And so it's so good, and he says that he is so happy.
I was the same. I was completely nervous for that last match. I thought you guys lost, and then I saw you celebrating, and I had to go back and say, wait, what happened? So you didn't think you were going to win either. You saw him taking your tower, and you thought that was game over.
No, la verdad es que sí. Al principio me obligaba todo el rato a defender, no podía atacar, hasta que al final he encontrado la oportunidad y no sé, es que ha sido muy raro, pero estoy muy contento.
So yes, it was really difficult to push at the beginning because he had to defend with the pressure deck of Matt, but he did it, and one push and it is done, and he's so happy too. Yes, it's amazing. I'm so happy too.
And with one win under your belt, congrats, guys. Amazing job. Back to you.
Thanks, Christy. Just 5 days into action in the European region, it is pure pandemonium in the standings.
Oh, yes. These standings have... I don't think they do justice to the absolute bedlam that has been these games so far, having amazing matchups like that. Team Dignitas now 1-1. Team Queso and G2 still at the top of the standings, but overall, there's so much room here. So many of these teams still have a lot to prove. I'm so very excited to see what's in store for us next.
Of course, we'll be back on Saturday for more action in the European region. You can follow all that action by hitting subscribe right there on your YouTube page for the Clash Royale esports channel.
You can also go to esports.clashroyale.com to check out all of the action there, or the new esports tab in the game right next to the news, all that good stuff. Follow your esports there.
Guys, I don't know about you, but I need a nap. It's about time for us to sign off. I'm Rich Slayton. That's Paul in Verum Totco. We will see you right back here on Saturday.
Today, the battles were perhaps the most epic thus far. I mean, these guys are really redefining epic every day. Epic, epic, epic. Did I say epic? We have seen Mega Knights and Bandits storm towers with precision and fireball attacks galore, but today was just one more step on the staircase to the World Finals. Please stay tuned. I can barely contain myself, and subscribe to the Clash Royale esports channel. This is the Clash Royale League. And remember, there's a time to leak elixir and a time to spend it. The key to happiness is knowing the difference.